I'll be showing you guys how to make this button down midi dress, and for that I'm going to be using 2 yards of Ankara fabric. So let's get into the video. So guys, the first thing I'm going to cut is the bottom of the dress because I'm using 2 yards of Ankara fabric. So I'm going to cut out what I'll use for the bottom, and that will be, I want the dress to be 44 inches of length. So my shoulder to waist is 17, so I'm going to subtract it from the 44, and that will leave me with 27. So the 27 inches, I'm going to add 1.5 to it, 1 inch for folding the end here and half an inch for attaching it to the top part. So whatever you want to use as the bottom of your flail, just add 1.5 inches to it. So I'm going to cut mine out now. So guys, I've cut out what I'll use for the bottom of this, so I'm going to set this aside, and then my top bodice is going to come from this, and also my pockets. So guys, the first thing we're going to do is to fold your fabric into 2, right? And then the width you're going to use here is your bust measurement, and my bust measurement is 42, right? So I'm going to use 42. You're going to add plus 12 inches extra seam allowance, just add whatever your bust measurement is, add 42 to it. So I have 54, right? This 54 now I'm going to divide it by 4, so I have 13.5. so make sure that the fabric you folded has 13.5 on the surface. So this is what I need. I'm going to go ahead and, so guys, the next thing I'm going to mark here is the shoulder to waist, right? So the shoulder to waist I'm working with is 17. So I want my top to start at 7. So let's say this is my shoulder. I want my top to start at 7, right? 7 is here, and then I'm working with 17 inches, as my shoulder to waist is 17 inches, but I'm going to add extra 1 inch to it for seam allowance of folding the top, and then half an inch for folding the bottom. So that's why I have 18 here. So you see, my shoulder is starting at this 7 here. So I'm going to mark the 7, but my shoulder to waist is 17. That's from this point to this point is 17. But I need 1 inch for folding this top, and 1 inch. I need 1 inch for folding the top part and the bottom. That's half an inch, half an inch. So I'm going to mark this now, and then I'm going to cut out this. So guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do, this is what I'm working with, right? I'm going to go ahead and divide my waist measurement, the same thing I did for the bust, right? So the waist measurement I'm working with is 38 plus the same 12 inches again, right? So I have 50. This same 50, I'm going to divide it by 4. So I'm going to have 12.5 for the waist. This is going to be my bust part. This is going to be the waist part. So 12.5, I'm going to just mark it here, and then connect it to this end. Just try to use a ruler to mark it up to this point here, and then you're going to trim it out. And then after this here, after trimming it out, what you're going to do is fold this part into 2 this way, right? The distance you're going to check is your nipple to nipple measurement, which is about, for me is 4 inches, right? For me is 8 inches divided by 2, that's 4 inches, and then I'm going to add extra 1 inch to it. So that's why I have 5 here, and make sure that your 5 fits in all over. So my 5 fits in, that's the distance from this fold to this end. And then after that, the next thing you're going to do is place back your tape the same way you had it before, right? I have my 7 inches at the top, but remember, you need half an inch at this top part, and then half an inch at this bottom part. Remember that 1 inch that you added for half an inch sewing allowance here and half an inch sewing allowance here. So now I move my tape down because I need to put in that half an inch at this point now, you see. So my tape, my 7 is still going to start here, but remember this half an inch is going to be folded. So what I'm going to do now is to check my shoulder to so my shoulder to breast point is 12, my shoulder to under bust is 14, and then my shoulder to waist is 17. That's my shoulder to waist, your half length. So I have this measurements here: shoulder to breast point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to come in here. I'm going to go down to your waistline. If you're an old member on this channel, you are already used to this method. but if you're new here, it's not that hard to make. So you're just going to come in here on this one, the middle line here, you're going to mark 0.75. On this one you're going to mark half an inch, and then you're going to connect this line. So guys, at this top part I'm going to come in by 1 inch, right? That's 1 inch from this distance to this distance, just the same way we did half an inch here, 0.75 here. So what you're going to do now is you're going to connect this line down here, and then take this one up here, and then connect these two down. So you see what I'm going to do next after this is come down here. You know from your shoulder to waist, remember what we did was about 7 inches. Your shoulder to where you want this top to start, for me is 7, but now you're going to measure from your shoulder to how deep you want that V that comes down to be. So I want my V to come down up to about, let's say, about 9 inches here. So this is where 9 inches is, right? So I'm just going to check what it is and tell you guys. So for me, that's about 2 inches down, right? 2 inches down. Remember, there's half an inch here that we're using to fold it, so it's basically 2 inches. If you add that half an inch, it's 2.5. So from that point, you're going to mark your line down up here. So you see, you're going to connect this line up here. So now we are just going to, this is it for the front body. So now we're just going to cut it out. Cut everything out. So guys, I'm also going to come down on the armhole by 2 inches also, right? I'm going to come down here by, remember this is going to be the armhole side, and then I'm also going to connect it. If you want, you can make it the same 2.5 that you used here. Come down and then connect it all the way up here. So connect it up to that point, the same thing, and then I'm going to also trim that out. So that's basically it for the front bodies. So this is what we are working with. So basically you're going to go ahead, sorry, I'm going to separate this, I didn't cut it open. So you're going to go ahead and cut lining for this, trace out the lining for this, and trace out lining. Remember, you have 2 pieces here, and then you have 1 piece at the center. So you see, you're going to go ahead and trace out your lining for this and this, and also this. And then after tracing out your lining, you're going to go ahead and split the center open. There are different ways to do it. You could have, one way is like add your seam allowances for, like you're going to use it to fold as your buttonhole, or you can go ahead, cut it open, and then use another fabric to attach at the end. So the method I'm going to be using in this video is to use a different, to attach fabric for my buttonhole. So what I'm going to do is just split this open so that I can be able to put in my the fabric for my button. So my button is going to be coming in at the center here. So you see what I have here. So you're just going to place it together. I didn't want to cut it open until after tracing the lining. So now we're going to just do cut out the back panel. So guys, for the back panel, what we're going to do is 40, which is my bust measurement, which is 42. I'm going to divide it by 2 because I'm just working with the back now. I'm done with the front, and I'm just working with the back panel. So what I'm going to do is my bust measurement for me is 42. This time around, I'm going to divide it into 2 because it's just the back that I'm working with. So I'm going to say that my back is 21, because if round my bust is 42, half of it, which is my back, is going to be just 21, right? So that 21, I'm going to add 4 inches to it, right? This 4 inches is constant. The 12 inches I told you guys about is also constant. So I'm going to add 4 inches. I'm going to add 4 inches to it. So this 4 inches, I'm now going to divide it by, after adding the 4 inches, I have 25. Now I'm going to divide it by 2. So what I have is 12.5, you see. So what I'm working with for my back is 12.5, which is what I have here right now. And then I'm going to go down to my waist, which is down this part here. So for the waist, what I'm working with for my waist is 38, right? So the same thing I did, half of my waist is what I'm going to be checking for, just the back. So I'm going to divide it into 2. That's going to be 19. That 19, I'm going to add 4 inches to it. The 4 inches is constant, so that's 23. So 23, I'm now going to divide it by 2. So that's 11.5. So I'm going to just mark that here, 11.5 down here. So guys, since my back since the back panel is going to be attaching to the front panel on the side, I need to know the exact length I use for my front panel. Remember, this is the side of the front panel, right? So I'm going to just check the length I have here. So it's 9 inches, right? So I'm going to make sure that I have 9 inches also here, right? So this is where my back panel will be. So I'm going to just cut out 9 inches here and then connect this waist here. So now this is my back panel here. So make sure that I mark out my 9 inches all the way. So guys, you see what my back panel looks like. This is my front panel. So what I'm going to do is to go ahead and cut my I'm going to go ahead and cut out my lining for this. So cut out my lining for this, cut out lining for also the front panel. And the reason why I use just 4 inches, I added only 4 inches here, is because this back panel, it doesn't have a lot of I'm not going to be using a lot of seam allowances here, but I only just need half an inch here to give it a dart here, and then 1 inch on the side. That's why it's just 4 that I need, right? 1 inch for joining the side, and then the other half an inch, and like 1 inch here, half an inch on each side for the dart here, half an inch on each side for the dart here. That's where I got the 4 from. So that is 1 inch on the side, 1 inch of that, 1 inch here, 1 inch here. So that's 4. That's why we use 4 here. But remember, for the front, we need 1 inch on each side of the 1 inch for attaching this side to the back, 1 inch for attaching this side to the back, 1 inch for the center, 1 inch on this. So it's like, that's why we have a lot of more seam allowances for the front than we have for the back. So we're just going to go and trace out our lining, and then I'm also going to go ahead and cut out my pocket. So guys, I've gone ahead and traced out my lining for each of them. So now I'm just going to go ahead and join them. Like I said before, you're going to just join your fabric itself, join the main fabric itself, and then join your lining separately, and then you're going to attach it together. So I'm going to do mine and come back. So guys, this is what it looks like. So this is the back panel. So I just basically joined the lining to the top part here, folded it in, you see, folded it in just to finish up this end here, and then gave it a dart, just 2 straight darts here. So that's how I did the back, and then joined the front to it, to one side. So you see what it looks like. I also did the same thing. So see what I'm saying here? Join the 2 front piece of your lining, join the 2 front piece of the main fabric, and then the top part is where you're going to join the main fabric and the lining. And then when you're done, you fold it out this way, right? You fold it out this way, so it will help you finish up this top part here. Remember that half an inch that we left for the top part, now we've used it. So you're just going to use scissors to snip it so it releases the tension, and then you fold it out, iron it. So that's what I did on this side. After ironing it, I just joined it to the side. So the next step on this now is to take it and join it to this side. You see, that's why we made sure that the length of the back is the same as the length of the front, because the 2 of them will meet at the side. So I'm going to make a stitch by the side to join it all the way, and then when I'm done, the next step is to, you can see I've put in the button, the place I'm going to put in the button. So you see what I did is just to cut out fabric that is the same as this here, the same length as this end, from this end to this end, but add about 1 inch to it, or half an inch to it, so that you can use it to fold the top end here. So what I did is I cut width of 3 inches or 3.5, it depends on you. Fold the top part here, fold it into this way. So you see this top part is now neat. Like this is the top part is now neat. So what you're going to do is take it the way it is now, join it to this top part here, and then you're going to make a stitch. Join it all the way down, and then when you're done, you flip it this way and top stitch it. So that's how you're going to have these 2 parts here. You use one to put in the button, and then the second one to put in the buttonhole. And then moving on, I cut out what I'm going to use for my pocket, and it's about 11 inches of length. So what I'm going to do is just go to my sewing machine, fold the top here, fold it this way, right? Just fold it, make a stitch on top. I'll have something that looks like this. and then I'm going to fold the sides just the same way you normally put pocket. That's how I'm going to just fold the side, fold the bottom, and then I'm going to attach it. This is the body of my the dress. So as you can see, I've gone ahead and joined one side. You see, I've done one side here, so this is one side where my button is going to be. So basically what I did is, just after folding the end, what I did is this side, the other end of the fabric, just fold it this way, right? You're just going to fold it this way, fold it like this, and then just make a stitch all the way down. So now this is going to be one side of your button. You see, my fabric is still folded like this. So this is just my 2 yards, but at the end of the 2 yards, the 2 fabrics, that's where I'm going to fold for my button. So now the center here is going to be the center back. This is going to be the center back of my fabric, right? You don't have to split the 2 yards into two. Just the same way the fabric came, just go to one end and then fold it and make like a lapel for your button or placket, I'm not sure. Just fold it so you have somewhere to put in your button at the end, like how I have here. You can make it 1 inch distance. So after that, you come down here, and then this is where I'm going to come down 4 inches from the waist, and then that's where I'm going to put in my pocket. 4 inches or 4.5 from the waist, that's where my pocket is going to fall in. So you're just going to use pin to pin down this pocket here, and then fold the side and just make a stitch all the way down. So that's how you're going to do the pocket. So guys, you see the one that I've already done, see what it looks like. See my button, see the button hole. You see the same way I did it, I top stitch it. So this is what it looks like. This is my pocket here. That's how you're going to do it. You see what I'm saying? Just fold the fabric so you can have somewhere to put in your button. So that's basically how I'm going to go ahead and start joining mine. Ahead and put in my button and join the top and the bottom. So basically, after putting in after sewing this bottom, you just take the top part and join it to the bottom part, and that's it. So see my pocket here, I have 2 of them. And then the strap, I like to put in my strap after I'm done, because I'm not sure what's the length of the strap. I'm not sure how much I would need, so I normally make a long one and then just tack it down on top. But if you're sure how much you would need, then when you're sewing the top of the lining, then you can just go ahead and put in your straps for a better look. It will look neater that way. So that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you have any question, leave it in the comment section, and please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.